one planet, and so many beautiful places. One trip and 10 days to discover a part of Europe I never saw. This is how I visited Croatia, Slovenia, Montenegro, and Italy. I didn't quite know what to expect. And the day that we were going off to the airport and the taxi, I felt pretty calmer than usual. So usually when you go on a trip, you're stressed about all these suitcases, whatever. Are we going to get on time to the flight, whatever? Or do we have our passports, whatever? But this day, I felt really calm, and I don't know why. Of course, we planned this trip with a travel agency, and it was the first time I ever went on a trip with a travel agency. It's really interesting because they basically organize everything for you. Okay, so we arrived to the airport pretty quickly and everything was fine. And to my shock, the plane was actually pretty small. It was a 2-hour flight from Barcelona to Dubrovnik, the first city where we actually spent the most time on this trip. The flight was calm, nothing special, no turbulence, whatever. Now, I really want to thank my grandmother for actually planning, organizing, and doing everything for this trip to actually be able to happen. And I am really grateful and really lucky that she took me with her and that we had such a great time there. The landing was really beautiful. Basically, Dubrovnik is on the side of the sea, and so it was really beautiful seeing the sea as we landed. And so we searched for our travel agency representative, and they brought us to the hotel. It was actually pretty big, the hotel, and it was on the seaside. We went to our room, checked in, whatever, and then we just wanted to discover what's in the hotel before going to our representative in the travel agency and our group and talk and eat dinner. There was 2 pools, 1 restaurant, 1 buffet, and a small bar. So it was a decent hotel, and I really liked it. Then we had a really cool dinner with all the group. We greeted each other and started knowing new people, and we ate at the buffet, which was really big, with all sorts of meat, side dishes, salads, everything you can imagine. There was even some sort of ice cream, and it was really good. This trip is really special because it is quite intense. So, first of all, we landed in Dubrovnik, and this is pretty much the plan. Spend 1 day in Dubrovnik with a tour of Dubrovnik, then go to Montenegro, a country beside Dubrovnik, by bus, then return to Dubrovnik and head head north to another town, Split, in Croatia. Then travel in Split, stay there 1 night, travel to the Plitvice Lakes, which will be a huge highlight in this trip. Stay there 1 night, and then basically slowly head to Slovenia. This is all by bus. Cross the border, get to a big cave in Postojna, whatever. and go to Bled, then Ljubljana, the capital of Slovenia, travel to Italy by bus to Trieste, a seaside city, town more or less, and then go to Venice, which is like at the end. And so this trip is really intense, and we had 10 days, and everything was like minutely organized. When you wake up, what hotel do you go to, and everything. And we had a bus, like our bus. Each day, our tour manager, which is a guide that will accompany us during the whole 10 days, posted the paper in the hotel that told us, okay, so you need to wake up at this moment, and we will have what we will do during the day. So the second day, we actually didn't wake up that early, and we ate again breakfast in this buffet, which in the whole trip breakfast is included. I mean, this is fantastic. And we went to Dubrovnik on bus. In Dubrovnik, we had a sightseeing tour. So basically, you walk around the city and you see different stuff. In this case, we started by the entry in the city, and it was really impressive. So basically, Dubrovnik is a pretty small city on the seaside. It is surrounded by big 2-kilometer walls, and inside the old town, so inside the walls, you cannot have cars going. So basically, you only walk inside. Also, all the houses have a roof which is pretty, the same roofs, and the city is really beautiful because the architecture is quite old and it is UNESCO protected. So yeah, it's quite monumental, you can say. We started by walking around the main entry, and we went to a place where there is one of the oldest working pharmacies in the world. So that doesn't mean it was the oldest pharmacy built, but it means it's a pharmacy that's been built a long time ago, and now it has been it's still working. After that, we saw a monastery of monks, which they opened the first floor for a museum, and it was pretty beautiful. Actually, we learned that in the old times, they kept poison in the pharmacy really in high places. So when someone wanted to get poison, whatever, to assassinate someone or whatever, they had to climb a ladder or something to get it. And so the people would know who got the poison. So that's really interesting. Before, Dubrovnik was a whole country, so a small country with those big walls on a cliff, and they were pretty advanced. So they were one of the first, I think in the 5th century, to prohibit slavery, which is really, really good. And actually they had a really good democratic system. First of all, they had a lot of diplomats around the world, so people that travel, have meetings, Pacific meetings, of course, and they actually accepted the states' independence first. And the country, Dubrovnik, had a ruler which changed every month. So imagine at one point, this was good for preventing corruption and stuff like that. Okay, so this tour was pretty cool. We visited a museum, a cathedral. We walked around the city, and the city is actually really beautiful. So it's probably one of the most architecturally beautiful cities I have seen in this trip. All the streets are cobbled, and there's this really old port by the side of the city, and of course the sea is really clear. The Adriatic Sea is really clear. Yeah, and so that after this sightseeing tour, basically they give you free time. So me and grandma, we had some time to walk around the city and do whatever we wanted, and it was really hot out there. So we decided to, of course, drink a milkshake and take a lot of forces. And then the local guide actually told us that there was a cable car somewhere that went up the mountain, because behind, so this is Dubrovnik, and up here there's like a mountain, and here is the sea with like super beautiful views. And so after maybe 30-40 minutes of searching and like intensive walking, we finally found this cable car. It's time to go on the cable car. And we went up to the mountain, and the views, I literally started tearing up from the beauty unfolding. So you have like the city, the sea, the islands, and it's all so scenic and just wonderful, okay? It was time for us to head back to our bus, which would lead us for some free time at the hotel. And we had a little bit of spare time, so we saw a fort, which is curiously detached from Dubrovnik itself. And so yeah, we saw the sea, some kayakers, and I made quite a lot of photos. And then we headed back to the hotel, and I decided to go swimming in the pool because we still had time till 6 o'clock, when we would head out to another port and go on a cruise ride. Now, this cruise ride is probably one of the favorite things that happened in this trip. So we went. It's not a cruise. It was a small speedboat. Okay, don't get your imagination going. No, it was a small speedboat boat for like 15 people, and the group basically, and we went around like the mountains and Dubrovnik, the walls, and we saw it from the sea, which is completely a different view. Also, the world blessed us with a beautiful rainbow, and I was just in such a great mood, because in my head it was like, oh my god, I'm so lucky. This is my first day of this trip, and it's already more than enough for me to be happy for another 10 years, okay? So we went on a small beach, which isn't accessible to tourists. And our guide was like intelligent. There's a small, like really beautiful, like, you know, in those romantic movies, like this terrace with local people and local beach, and it's overlooking Dubrovnik, the city, everything with the sunset, with palm trees and just like some really calm, relaxing music with the sound of the waves. It felt like sitting on top. Man, I have to tell you guys, I had the greatest time there with all this group. We socialized, talked about so many different stuff, with the sound of the waves. The food was really good. Just thinking about it right now, it makes me want to cry. Like, what? And when we came back, we saw Dubrovnik at night, and it was even more beautiful. All the houses lit up with those small lights, and we came to another port which is inside Dubrovnik, because we came from like a bigger port with cruise ships and everything, but there's a small port that's directly in the city, and so we could walk throughout the city again in the night. And we came back to the hotel like at 11, and it was just such a great day. After this first day, I didn't realize it yet, but there was so many just amazing things. And just the first day, I mean, it could have been enough of a trip for me, really, with the buffet, with everything. So yeah, but there was still so much to come, and I didn't realize it. Yeah, so I guess it's time for me to end this video, because it's too long. But if you want a part 2, stay here, I'll do it anyways. I really like doing those videos where we just chit-chat a little bit about this trip, that trip. It's really amazing.